episode 1 of, what do we call it?
KatchLive, the
Catch
Something
Live.
podcast. And as a golden nugget for all those that are listening, if they tune in, we will reveal the golden nugget of what worked really well for us on our first Amazon product.
Watch till the end.
Watch till the end, but we actually will. We'll go through our process of how we chose an Amazon product that did 30,000 sales the very first month that we launched it.
Yep.
And it's it's still out there. It's still selling, even though it's down season right now. It's bringing in the passive income.
Seasonal product, so
Yeah.
it's natural.
Absolutely. And it was a tough market. It was a tough product, actually, that had a lot of problems. But
There was a lot of stuff with that. I mean, you guys are going to get a lot of information off of it, but like, really unique set of circumstances because we launched in COVID, and it was like a blessing, but also a curse in disguise. So we'll get into all those details. How do we want to start it off?
yeah, I guess we can start off by deciding how we even got into this whole Amazon business. By the way, it's by no means our primary source of income. It was just like a side project that we did. To me, personally, it always seemed like this far removed scammy thing. Like all these younglings
Yeah.
doing Amazon and making tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars on Amazon. But it was an interesting experiment, which in turn led not only to a nice passive income, but to understanding fundamentals of business, investing money, turning the wheels, and no pun intended. And
That's pretty funny.
our Amazon product relates to wheels.
The wheels, yeah.
So, and then essentially at the end of the day, kind of deducing the formula of business, delivering a product to a consumer, getting money in return. So I think that's what it was to me. I don't know how you saw it.
Yeah, like we had a conversation with one of our clients, and he was talking about it on TikTok, but my impression was still like, it seems a little bit scammy. It seems like this is like a money grab. This isn't real. This is not like, there's some sort of scam or a weird like underlying thing here. People don't actually make money off this. They just talk about making money off this. But I still went into it because honestly, like worst case, it's an experience. It was business. You get to learn the process. It didn't end up being scammy, so don't worry. But I remember we first spoke about it a few months after we finished B Network, and that was like wrapped up.
That was what year?
So we finished B Network and we wrapped that up was that the end of 2017 or 2018?
One of those for sure.
Whatever. Sometime later, you had tried, I remember, you had tried Amazon before with one of our friends, Minjay, and got to a certain level. Long story short, a year goes by, then we tried in the beginning, I think it was in the beginning of 2019. We started trying it for real, February 2019. We're like, yo, let's lock ourselves in a basement. I remember, we're like, okay, we're locking ourselves in a basement and we're just going to work on it and we're going to get this done.
We'll figure it out. Because
it's scary in the beginning. It's like, what the heck do I do? What is this process? And there's videos out there, but like, it's in depth. It's far from like just press a button and like results happen. We didn't lock ourselves in a basement in February, but we pretty much did in April. And like, that's when we actually started with the whole process.
And how many months, I know we'll break it down into the process, but how many months did it take us of research and thinking before we actually put a single dollar down?
I mean,
approximately.
I'd say a couple months.
Couple months?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just comes to show that it's not an overnight type thing. You have to spend many months doing your research, thinking, planning before you actually move forward with this business plan.
Yeah. And we went in depth when we started. I think we were the idea, and I don't know, we can go over the breakdown. Maybe it's better to give like the audience an idea of the whole breakdown, but we can go step by step and like just jump right into it. So
for sure. Yeah. So I broke it down into I think 4 or 5 step process that this applies to general business, but in Amazon, this is what we utilized. So step one is consumer demand research. Basically finding an opportunity. Number 2 is narrowing down from consumer demand what your niche is, aka what we can be good at. Where is there a gap in the market that we can actually find a solution for? Number 3 is finding and iterating and finalizing a good product, making sure that the finances make sense, testing it out, colors, functionalities, etc. 4 is good marketing, and then 5 is iterate.
Yeah.
And not to, I think I would like to solidify at 5 because people may think that it's only 4 steps and then they get to step 4, they try to market it, it doesn't work.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, well, I guess it just didn't work. But the iterate part is important.
Yeah, definitely. And we have some good experience and insights, good and bad with that.
Yeah.
I would just say, like, for me, just more abstractly, it's like, what am I going to sell? What product are you going to sell? Why are you going to sell it? That's like the niche and the research. And then how are you going to sell it?
Mm-hmm.
Right? That's like the whole encompassing thing. And we can break that down with essentially the first question, like, what are we going to sell?
Yeah.
So I'll just go right into it. Like, that first process was research. We looked into YouTube videos, we figured out the tools you have to use. So there are free videos out there, again, just to give the breakdown of what you have to do to find products that essentially have like low competition and high demand. And you can use like proxy metrics, like number of reviews relative to sales, number of like, the distribution of sales between the top selling products. Like, you can do all this, but point being, we went really, really deep into these tools that just chug all the numbers on Amazon products and tell you like, this is what's doing well, this is what's not doing well, but you have to like manually do it. So I think we did dozens and dozens of hours of that.
Yeah, we had a list of dozens and dozens of products.
Yeah,
comparing all the numbers side by side.
Yeah, the tool like Jungle Scout. So we used Jungle Scout and just highlighted maybe like 20 products in the first like almost 100 hours maybe of research, something like that. And a lot of them are like, oh, this is cool, but it's bad because of this reason. Yeah. Like, there's always, it's so hard to find that good product, but it's almost like a cliche, but it is true what they say. Like, the product you find is 90% of the success. If the product is good, there's actually more demand than there was there was more demand than there is supply, and you plug it in there and you market it, like, the product will do well. If you do a great marketing campaign with the product is chosen incorrectly, like the numbers don't back it up, it's tough.
And I think the last point what you just said, I want to add to that it's so important not to get emotionally attached to what you think product is going to do well.
Yes.
Because it was very easy, and I think during the process we were thinking to ourselves, like, would anybody use it? This doesn't feel right. And like you said, the data, the numbers really speak, because if we're solving a problem in the market, and we see that the numbers, there is demand, there is questionable supply, or there is a gap where we can improve the supply, kind of insert a demand that maybe doesn't yet exist. This is where you take a risk. But at the end of the day, unless you're a seasoned or experienced business person that has refined their ability to make decisions and kind of guesstimations, just rely on data in the beginning.
Yeah,
absolutely.
You have to. Like, the absolute worst thing you can do, and I've seen people trying to like fall into that habit, is, I think this item will do well.
Yeah.
Let's start selling it. I don't know, like fidget spinners are in sale. Like, let's do fidget. Like, guaranteed, especially if it's something that has just come into popularity, like, that's not a recipe for success.
You could get lucky, but you're gambling.
It's luck. It's luck. Yeah. It's not a methodical process.
Exactly.
I remember throughout the process, we'll discuss like what products we've sold, or we've listed, like training wheels, this thing called a neck hammock, and dispenser. People are like, how'd you come up with this? Did you just think about it? It's like, no, I don't think about it at all. I go through thousands and thousands of products, pick out the ones that have the best numbers. Okay, these have the best like numbers that suggest it'll do well. That's what I'm picking. I'm not putting my heart into it, or my feelings into it.
Yeah. And then where we used our intuition and still product research, we actually sent out dozens of surveys at a later stage. And I think we'll cover it in a little bit more, but I just wanted to kind of add in that it's not only purely data. There is some intuition involved, but the intuition is how to use the data. Yeah. It's first, you got to get data. Your intuition also tells you what's good data, what's bad data. And then you use your intuition to basically say, okay, now what do I do with this data? Yeah.
And I found that you really build your intuition based on the more you do this.
Yeah.
Like, you realize what metrics are good indicators and which are bad. Like, people will tell you like there's scores. There's a lot of tools that'll like give you, let's say, a 7 out of 10 on this product. Like, you can just click a button, but you can't just like rely on that.
Yeah.
You really have to look at why they're saying it's a 7 out of 10. What's actually happening? What products is it actually scoring? Like,
what's the time of the year?
Exactly. Look at the seasonality. Look at, especially, and because we did our first product research before COVID, a year before, and there was less like random things, less variability. The second set of product research was during COVID, which is like, all the data is influenced by this massive, unprecedented event. And it's really, really hard to figure out what's real metrics and what's like fake or what's elevated. That was another lesson that we can talk about.
Absolutely. And if we want to abstract it from Amazon, because not everyone is going to be doing Amazon, but the point of us discussing our Amazon venture, because of basically how it applies to business as a whole, to a mindset, to selling something, a product or a service, is the fact that find out through methodical data points, whether it's survey, looking up data, I don't know, prediction, with a mix of intuition, which is built through practice, find demand in the market, essentially. So find a problem.
Yeah, exactly.
And
literally,
there's different languages. There's different language that different entrepreneurs and business entities will use, but it's just solve a problem. Yeah. Find the problem first, and that we did using data.
Yeah.
Then step number 2, right? So let's say we did the research. Let's say you want to I don't know, you want to open a nail salon in city X. You do the research that there's a lot of females in this town that want to get their nails done, but there is no good reputable nail salon, and you identify that there's a problem. Now what? Step number 2, niche opportunity, aka what we can be good at. What did we do there?
Niche opportunity. How do you mean, like?
So,
what we can improve?
So I think this is kind of.
I understand what you mean. Okay, I mean, I think it's best if I give like the actual concrete example. I just like to be that way.
Yeah.
Of how it worked with our first product, training wheels for kids, right? That fit on like 12 to 20 inch bikes. That product had the numbers like sales relative to competition, relative to reviews. That's like, okay, like people are buying this, but the competition isn't strong. And then it's like, okay, this niche, cool, the numbers back it up, but I think what you're asking is like, how do we make it better?
I think in this step, I'm more so referring to, like what is the actual carved out piece of the pie, piece of the market? So we found that there's a problem. Now, what's the piece of the pie that it is our actual opportunity? So let's say if we find that, in our case, we found that training wheels is a good general like item. It has good demand, not an amazing supply. Now, the further step is how can we there it is, differentiating factor.
Yeah, exactly.
What's the differentiating
how
factor?
Do we change it essentially all you want to ask yourself is, what pain points do the customers have right now with this product, and how am I going to ameliorate and improve their pain points? How am I going to solve the problem? Like, that's it. Like, the business process is solve problems. I think that's like framed. That should be framed. So you have to look into what customers are saying, and like you alluded to it with surveys, but before we did surveys, it's looking at comments. Let's, in this concrete example, look at reviews. What do people like about it? What do they like about it? We went into all of this and we found the few things that people don't like about training wheels, whether it's, there was some about design and lack of like variability, sturdiness was a huge one, like they would break, a couple other things that maybe aren't coming to mind, but it's like, listen to the customer. Simple as that. That's the person who's going to buy it. That's the person you listen to. And we have the luxury of, particularly on Amazon, maybe you do in future businesses, maybe not, and you need to find it. But what do hundreds of your customers say? Aggregate that, and that is like all you need to know. So
that's I think 50% of what we did is fix what's broken, add up to what the recommendations are, and then the other 50% what we did is use imagination and some user surveys and taking examples of what else can we add, what's not there yet.
Absolutely. You have to intuit as like your intuition with the product. Okay, these are the problems that are concrete, but like, if I were a customer, what would I want? That's also the next part of it. So that I like this whole process was like really, it's fun because it's part science and part art. Use the scientific numerical process, but also it's like, use your imagination. What would you like? What do you think is a good improvement? And then don't just stick with it. What we'll talk about is ask people, like, is this good? Is this design choice something you like? Survey them. That was cool.
I think while maybe you will then give examples of exactly what we did, I will try to come up on the spot with like an abstracted example to show how this can apply. So I'll deviate. I won't use nail salon. I'll use a marketing company.
Sure.
Nudge. We currently run a marketing company. So consumer demand research. In that step, I would say businesses are moving online, especially for naturally because of the internet, COVID more than ever. Businesses are moving online. A lot of people offer a service, whether it's software development, financial services, accounting, lawyer. You need to be online now to be found. So, you can do the research in that regard. That's obvious. Step number one. Step number two, niche opportunity. There are a lot of marketing agencies. What can we do that's a little bit different or better or differentiates us? It can be anything from, I will give, a tremendous amount of upfront education and transparency into the actual process. So maybe if a lot of marketing agencies keep it as a black box, we will educate the client in our first sessions and show them the literal exact step-by-step, day-by-day plan. Maybe that's one idea. Another idea is we will partner with, we will partner with a non-for-profit institution or an academic institution that will back us up with either data or science or maybe goodwill. Maybe our niche opportunity is whatever money we make, a certain part of the profits, we will do pro bono advertisement for companies that maybe don't have a marketing budget, but they're still very damaged from COVID. Non-for-profit, charities, community centers, those need help too. So I'm kind of trying to apply it there.
One, who knows who's using it, but marketing generally not associated with STEM. What if our whole team is STEM and very numerical and data oriented, which is where a lot of the economy is going? Oh, maybe people will like that.
Absolutely. So that's kind of a reference to the fact that in our marketing company, we don't have a single marketing/business school graduate. Well, someone does finance and economics, but we don't have a marketing graduate.
Yeah, exactly.
Which in a way, adds a twist and a spin to us that we think about problems differently and we understand marketing from a different perspective and a different approach.
Yep.
Absolutely. Okay, let's go into step number 3. This is, I don't know whether to call it due diligence, but it's essentially make sure your product is good, supplier is good, finances are good, logistics, all that fun stuff. So
that's really into the details. And again, the theme will be you're the more abstract one.
You go first. What do we do?
On the Amazon stuff, so I guess talking about suppliers first, or just how we're going to source this product once you figure out you want to sell this.
We found the data points, we found the opportunity, we concatenated the reviews and our ideas. Now,
at this point, like we know what the product is. Like it's training wheels. With this, we were including a free product. It's solving all these problems. Okay, how are we going to make it? Like that's the question here. And specifically for Amazon, but we'll abstract it is, you find a supplier who makes this and you cooperate with them and you build it together. Now that process is really difficult because especially if you're not in the warehouse or if you're not in the manufacturing plant, you have to put a lot of trust into the person who's building the product. And especially with like communication barriers, time difference barriers, it can be really tough, but it's super, super important because they're building the final product. And we've seen that can cause a lot of problems because if that final product isn't what you want and has some flaws that you haven't foreseen, like that's going to bite you in the butt. And you really only have you maybe have one second chance in these things, and sometimes not even 1 second chance. So you really, really want to make sure you get it right. So those sorts of things, what we did on Amazon is the typical, I'll just give a brief outline of the process. On Alibaba, you go and there's the manufacturers, find people who already make training wheels, discuss, the manufacturers you find you want to work with, show them your designs, what you want to talk about, negotiate that all down, like how the product packaging is going to look like, how all these things are going to look like. And that was the process.
Make sure we get pictures, samples, videos.
Yeah, they give us a sample, we test it out, we're like, okay, cool, like how can I break it? I remember
we literally bought a bike in Walmart and assembled it.
We got 2 training wheels. We got 2 tricycles. Bikes without the training wheels. And we put our own training wheels on them to take photos to like, I remember taking the bars for the training wheels and like trying to bend them and be like, okay, is this gonna break? Other things, is everything A-okay here? And from there, then that's the big decision, because once you have that sample, it's like, you have to devote buying 1,000 of them or a few hundred at least. And that's when you're really at the point where like you got to put in the money into the business, and you better believe that all that due diligence you did is going to pay off.
I think another part of the due diligence, and after you verify the product is good, and maybe even before, is making sure that the profit margins make sense.
Oh yeah, of course.
So calculating the shipping costs. Like literally all these costs you may have not even foreseen before you start. Like how much is it going to cost to market it? How much is it going to cost to ship it? How much is Is the product going to cost plus the packaging, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera? Just plotting it out in Excel, doing the math. How much money am I going to make?
Yeah, we did that. Actually, that's something we would use as a filter when deciding like those 20 products we initially had. Because, you know, Alibaba will tell you how much it costs. You know how much people sell it for on Amazon. You know what the fees are. So right away there, it's like, is this even profitable? Because you might have a great product, but it's not profitable. So like, you're not going to sell it. That's a huge part of it. Like that's business at the end of the day. If the product can't survive, then you can't sell it.
Yeah. So in this step, it's the very much so nitty gritty.
Yeah. This is where you want your finance guy.
Yeah.
Numbers guy.
So if I had to abstract it then to let's say if we're starting a marketing company, you want to make sure that how much your salary is going to cost.
Yeah.
Can you company and corporation? How are you going to get the message out there and across? Is the service that you're actually offering as a marketer, let's say, I don't know, you're running paid ads, can you actually run the paid ads? Are you going to be able to bring a competent solution or a product or a service to the consumer? And you can test it just like we tested our Amazon product. You can test that by launching your own experiment. It can be completely conceptual, but let's say if you're a marketer planning to sell your ability to market through ads, launch your own store, your own product, your own service, and then run ads. Yeah. See how it goes. Can you sell? Can you get the prices? Can you get the cost per click down, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera? Do all that due diligence. How much am I going to charge clients? How much is in my pocket? Kind of revenue forecasting, business plan, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah. So that's if I had to compare it. Awesome. So we've done the research. We've convinced that our product is great.
Yeah.
We did the due diligence. We know how much it costs. We put the money down. We get the product. Now what?
Now it's crazy because you might have a great product and it's amazing and it solves all the consumers' problems. But if it doesn't look good, again, going to the Amazon example, if it doesn't look good, the listing isn't nice, and if you don't market it, people just won't buy it. It really, especially, I feel like the trend is things need to look great. It's not just about having a good product. Like you got to sell it, and not selling in a bad connotation, but just really highlight the value, highlight what it solves, portray it in the best way possible. So that's working with designers who like make the listing itself on Amazon. What images are you going to show? That's really consequential. What do you want on that first square? I forget what it's called, the main product page that people are going to see. And then what are the next ones? So it's like, what value propositions do we want to show? And I remember the composition was really, really bad on these training wheels. Like it was bad, like JPEG images and like white background with like crappy design elements. Everything was really, really low quality. So we're like, man, if we get a good design and good images on this, like we're going to blow everyone out of the water. So we made like a main product page, the first thing people see that showed so many more things than the competition did. Like it showed the free bonuses, it had different colors, it showed the wheel installed on the bike as well as the wheel. So it's like showing you all these great things that a user wants to see when they're looking for a product. And no one else had this. And then in the images themselves, we're like, okay, here's the components, here's the problems it solves and features, and like a nice color in the background. And everyone else was like just white background and
people may be thinking, I'm no graphic designer. So what do we do?
we didn't. By the way, we didn't make them. We found like a good professional who made these images for us
on Upwork.
Yeah. Who did this for us. We did do the photography, but you could also choose not to do the photography. But knows a little bit about photography, so it was enough. And what I learned is you can fix almost anything up with Photoshop. Like our graphic designer was amazing, the stuff he could do and how great he could make things look.
Yeah.
And not expensive. I mean, it cost, let's say for one listing, I think $100. And you might be like, okay, I don't want to spend more money, but I mean, these images will like define the product. It's worth investing.
If you're putting $1,000 to $2,000 down on products, paying $100 for a really good product page, which will actually convince them to buy it, it's a whole different story. I think you can. There's like two parts, right? You can bring the elephant to the watering hole, but you can't make it drink it. This is the bring the elephant to the watering hole. Like, will the consumer come to your product? Second step is your product good, but this is the first step, right?
Yeah. And also, like with writing description, we did write the descriptions on our own. But again, throughout all of this, even like deciding what to put in the images, I'm looking at what the competition is doing and what's good and what's bad. Like I had documents of every single image what it needs to show, so I can send it to the designer and be like, listen, it needs to show it in this angle because it highlights this value. The second image needs to do a different thing, third image, and so on. And then with the text, you just want to kind of reiterate the same, just highlights, like what does it do, what's good about it, what problems does it solve, in a really like quick and condensed way.
We can already see that people dummy think that this whole ordeal is a scam and get rich quick scam. There's so much stuff that
it's a lot of work. It was sold to us as like passive. It's like set it, do it once, and then you get passive income for it. No, like you got to manage this like a real business
and do it really well too.
Exactly. Yeah. It's not, maybe in like 2016 it was that easy where you just get a product and you like list it and it'll sell and you don't have to do anything after. But definitely now, from our experiences, like it's legit. You got to do it well and you got to do it consistently. It's not so passive anymore.
Because don't forget also, each product that you're listing, you're literally getting hundreds of other people, of other competitors trying to do the exact same thing. So time to market, work better than them, work harder than them. It comes down to that. So yeah, this step was the good marketing part. There's obviously an entire science to it that we can't cover. By the way, we promised a golden nugget. I think for the good product and good niche opportunity, what we found is that there was no pink color item. So there is this whole niche of products, bicycle training wheels, and there was no pink training wheels. And there's obviously girls trying to ride bicycles. So we found our niche opportunity, and this is kind of to instill some inspiration in people's minds. If you're out there looking for products, think who else can it serve that it's not serving right now. That's the kind of
and just in general, like with pink, it's none of the suppliers I remember had like more than 2 colors. And they were all like ugly colors, honestly. We launched right away with 6 colors. And with like different variations. It was really, really aesthetically pleasing. I still think they're the best looking training wheels on Amazon. But definitely at the time they like blew everything out of the water.
Right. We just talked about good marketing in our Amazon case. Good marketing if you're a marketing company. Surprise. It just has to do with, let's say you came to this point, you've realized you want to do a marketing company. You can deliver on what you do. You have to find clients. I mean, you could be the best damn marketer in the world. If nobody knows about you, then you're not getting clients. It's super simple. That involves prospecting, reaching out to new clients, making sure that your website, your social media, etc. looks good. That has to do with are you communicating your unique value proposition and your abilities and skills out there on the internet, out there in your social media. I mean that it's obviously a little bit more trivial if you're a marketing company, but it comes down to that. You can have the best product in the world. You need social proofing. You need reviews. You need all that kind of stuff.
We can talk about like everyone looks at reviews if we want to go back to Amazon, but in everything you want to see. The biggest proof is other people who used your service or worked with you. What did they think? And it's a little bit of like a catch-22 where you need reviews to get sales or to get services, and you need services to get reviews. But you got to start somewhere, and we can maybe get into that in another video of how to start from zero and positive feedback loop yourself into success. But in general, like the theme here is, okay, you have something good. How do you let people know in a really concise, meaningful, like energetic way that you connect with feelings and you connect with like thought and facts.
I actually, funny enough, down this topic, whether you're a person who's working full time, you're selling a product or you're selling a service, if you're starting off from scratch, or I mean, actually at any point, even if you're already good to get to the next level, you have to like keep your audacity in check, I think is what it is. If we just launch a product and we have no reviews, we're gonna either have to cut down on our price, offer a bonus, a discount, or spend more money on ads.
100%.
If we're a new marketing company, we're gonna have to either bring our prices down, offer performance-based fees, give 100 times more than we're charging for, etc. If you're a full-time employee, I've actually, obviously I'm not gonna mention name, I know plenty of people that are like that. They're saying, let's say I make $50,000 a year right now. I want to make 100,000. I want to get that next position. And they're saying, and I'm asking them, okay, so why don't you take more initiative? Why don't you do more work? to get paid like $100,000 employee. They're saying, well, I don't get paid $100,000. Why would I do $100,000 worth of work?
Yeah.
So you're forever stuck at 50,000. You get. I actually view the model as a reverse way. You get compensated and you get back what you put in. I mean, it's obvious, right?
Yeah.
If you're a $50,000 employee, it's either you just didn't spend enough time being a $100,000 employee. Maybe you just got it. You're still in it. It's COVID, whatever. Or I mean, that's just, or you're just not giving $100,000 worth of value.
Yeah, that's so for people who know maybe economic metrics, but your salary or whatever, your results are a lagging indicator.
Yeah,
they're showing what you were before. 100%. So for 100K salary, it's because a year ago, 6 months ago, whatever, you were a 100K employee. It takes time for that thing to actually happen, and I think the lesson here is, especially when you start out, you have to give more value than you're charging people.
Yeah.
That's the number one thing. Like, you need to just provide value because, there are other options we might have if we want to say like a business. Oh, this other person has more reviews. This other person has a product that's more well known. Well, that's what you're competing with. And the only way you're going to compete is providing even more than what is a fair price. You have to just provide value, and then the results will come for you.
Yeah.
So taking initiative at work, provide value. Like, be an amazing employee. Do what you can, and then eventually you'll get to that level where the results come.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think it's a forever thing. You can't ever stop doing that if you want to grow. Otherwise, you're going to stagnate.
Yeah. The house is moving.
It's like someone doing construction. I hope this doesn't bother the microphone.
I think it's fine.
Cool. So we got here. You have a great product. You are great at marketing. You're doing everything really well. Last step is iterate. And I mean, that's in my opinion, that's the most important step.
Yeah.
Because your chances are, if it's your first or 10th or whatever business, forever essentially, you're never going to be the best at the first 4 steps. But the iteration part is the most important part in a way, because as you're growing as an employee, as a friend, as a partner, as a business, as a product, when you go through each of these steps, step number 1, consumer demand research, 2, unique selling proposition / differentiating factor, good product, good marketing. When you get to the finish line, you get to take a step back, look at what did I do, what can I improve, what feedback am I receiving from the market, is the product bad or good, is my marketing bad or good, maybe there's no opportunity, maybe the product is amazing and my marketing is amazing, but there's only 2 people that are willing to buy. Let's say if you're selling a collector's edition Rolls Royce that costs like $3 million, how many shoppers do you have out there? You have to figure out that equation. So the last step is iterate, and I think we did it really well with our Amazon business with the packaging and whatnot. So maybe you can speak about that.
I'll touch on that quickly, and then I'll go a little bit abstract. You can finish the abstract one. But okay, now it's the time for great results. We had this product. I remember it so well. We're launching. It's beginning of April 2019. We have the ads ready to go. We have we have the product, everything's set, and we launch. And within like an hour, we get 2 sales, and we're like, wait, is this real? Did one of our friends order? Whatever. And then the night goes on, and I think at that point it's like 7 sales by like 1 a.m. We're like, what the hell is happening? Like, this is a brand new product that people are only buying from advertisements. It's not even on the 10th page of Amazon. So we're like, okay.
Yeah.
And then the next day, just sales keep coming in. It's like 20 sales by noon the next day. And then the following day, I remember it got to the point, you were in a phone call, there were 30 or 40 sales by like 1 p.m. that day. Just 30, 40 sales that day for a $30 product. So I'm like, what the heck is going on? It was crazy. So yeah, like it was really, really successful from the get-go, which was really nice and rewarding. But there's always a process. There's the highs and lows. So obviously it's not a perfect product. We see that one of the problems is customers are saying it wasn't coming with all the equipment, like nuts and bolts were missing.
So we're getting 1-star reviews.
Yeah, exactly.
And returns.
It's hurting the product.
Complaints, yeah.
Like you don't want 1 stars when you just start out. Like it really kills the product. So I remember we did like an investigation. People who are ordered, we even got a photo, and we see that the bag is ripped on arrival because they came in a plastic bag and they're metal products. So you can imagine that they open the bag up and these little loose parts fall out. That's a big no-no. It's hurting the product. So we're like, let's make a box.
Yeah.
Right? Put everything in a box. And you know what? Let's make it look really nice too. And even for that, it's like, what are some nice looking boxes?
Yeah.
And like, who makes nice boxes? I like Apple.
Yep.
So I literally go on like Beats box.
Yep.
Like this looks amazing. And I go to my designer. I'm like, I made him a little design of what each panel should say. I'm like, this.
Make us Apple.
I want that. And he made an amazing looking box. Even the manufacturer was like, wow, that's nice. And everyone we showed it to was like, that's a really nice box for training wheels.
I think I have it here.
Maybe, I don't know.
Whatever. Well, I'll show it on the screen. I'll put up an image.
But yeah, that's like one little bit of feedback that we took. And just the overall lesson is no matter how good of a job you did, it's never going to be perfect. And I think the best strategy, if you can, because you don't always have the opportunity, but it's like the lean startup method. Launch something. Launch that MVP, the minimum viable product. See what people think, right? Even if it's 10 people. Because you'll never be able to know until you get it out there. Like a lot of people want to make it perfect. Like I'm going to put all the bells and whistles and then put it out. And then surprise, surprise, people still have problems, but you spent a year instead of a month.
Something you could have never predicted.
Exactly. Yeah. So go do that month. Go put it out. Go see what people think if you have the ability to. It's not always the case with some products. And iterate on that. And like that's the biggest thing we're seeing. And you can touch upon it in marketing, but test, get feedback, analyze, iterate, make it better. And it's just like a constant loop. And you have to do this. You have to.
Yeah, that's in everything in life. I mean, in marketing, same thing. It's almost obvious. I mean, let's say you have your full line of products and you get a client, you do work for them, and whether it goes well or poorly, at the end of the engagement, you look at what can I have done better? Could I have done a better pitch? Could I have done a follow-up better? Could I have managed my team to deliver results more on time? Just, analyze, iterate, and then next client you get, you'll do a better job.
New opportunity.
That's the kind of the magic key for life. And honestly, as much as it may seem obvious, the lean startup and the minimum viable product, people still don't follow it.
No, of course not.
Because it's kind of like your own baby. When you see it from afar, you accept that idea of get a product, minimum viable product out there as soon as possible. But when you're developing a product, it's like no, it has to be good. It has to be good. I will not release something that's imperfect. I mean, we're releasing a podcast right now that's like we're no videographers. We're not great at speaking yet. We're just
for sure. We're just hanging here, talking to each other, talking to you guys listening, and like for me personally, especially if you tend to be a perfectionist, which like I tend to be, you want to just make everything perfect and not show anybody until it's perfect. And God, if you get criticism, you're gonna lose your mind. It's really, really not a helpful mentality because there's always things that can be done better, and that leads to taking things personally. It's like, wow, they didn't make the product. It means I'm bad.
Exactly.
It means everything I do is bad.
Yeah.
It's really like not the right way. It's better for this podcast, like a previous version of me, and still me. It's like, man, I'm gonna look bad. I don't know what to say.
Yeah.
Like, what do I talk about? I'm gonna look stupid. Doesn't matter. Get it out there. You're gonna get better just by doing it and getting the feedback, and it's not personal. You're just gonna improve yourself, and then like watch by podcast 20 will be like will be amazing.
Yeah.
Just like any product.
10,000 hour rule. It's I mean, one of my favorite thought leaders, Seth Godin, says the same thing. I mean, if you haven't yet, what he says is show me your bad writing. Show me your bad podcasts. Yeah, exactly. Show me your bad products. Show me the businesses you've launched that didn't succeed, and let's talk about them. He obviously said he says it as a metaphor, but essentially it's just keep iterating, go through it, learn, and eventually you'll do well. But that's personally why I think step number 5 is the most important one, because you could have zero base knowledge. You could have been born in Africa, not have gotten the best education, post-secondary education, but in your own local zone, if all you do is iterate and you keep trying to sell a certain product in your local African village, and you see some things work, some things don't, you keep iterating, you get better at that. Essentially, eventually you grow, you become better, you get that opportunity, that exposure, you keep iterating. It's just non-stop.
That's life, and like I'm getting so many ideas I want to share. We gotta clip this stuff. It's like this is coming from. I'm gonna talk about school and why I think school really hurts with that mentality. And like just to preface, this is coming from a person who.
Let me give you the credit. This is right here the best student in our whole engineering school. What's your GPA? 8 point.
So I mean, York does it out of 9, which probably like nobody understands.
Yeah.
But like 8.4.
8 plus GPA.
Out of 4.0 is a 3.94.
Yes, and that's in engineering, in space engineering. It's
Yeah.
literally rocket science.
So I did well in school. Trust me, my parents made sure I did well in school, and eventually I liked it. But it gives you the mentality that you got to perfect a piece of work and hand it in, and then you get the grade, and that's the end all be all.
Yeah.
And that's not real life, because real life is you do it, you get the feedback, and then you do it again, you do it again, you do it again. And we're seeing with our clients, it's like it's so much better just to release something obviously good. I'm not saying do bad work intentionally, but the real life process and everything you do is constant iteration. It's not you submit something once and the final judgment, that grade you get on the paper or the test is it. It's not like reflective of how the real world works. And especially like if you're a good student and you're used to that, like you got to get over that mentality. And even if you're not, like you start embracing that things are much more imperfect and you need to like adopt this iterative mentality just to get incrementally better. And with that way, like you'll produce something way better than you ever could have if you just like soloed it and gave it at the end.
It's progress over perfection. That's what it is.
Yeah.
And another aspect of what school is there is a hard deadline. It's a finite game. You have a hard deadline for the midterm, a hard deadline for the course, a hard deadline for graduation. You get your diploma and you're out of there. It's a finite game with finite rewards. And in life, it's just not like that. As long as you're alive, you got to keep iterating. There's no final destination of a good marketer. I mean, there are subjective timelines within that. You could be the best marketer of 2019 by revenue, and I'm actually the Infinite Game by Simon Sinek beautifully talks about it. You can be the best damn marketer in 2019 by revenue, and in 2020 you go bankrupt and you owe like billions of dollars, and then you're crap. So it's really not that, right? You could have graduated. The best GPA, you get your diploma, recession hits, you don't have a job, and you're sitting on your butt.
Yep.
So it's really about the mindset and mentality. I completely agree.
100%, man.
Yeah.
We're learning.
It's a good way to wrap it up. To
close it.
Cool. So we learned a lot today. I mean, we covered our 5, what we believe are the 5 steps to business, to Amazon. Yeah. How we made $30,000 in our first month of launching an Amazon product, amongst other startups that we've started, and we'll cover them in other podcasts. Now we're running a marketing company, and within the first month, we are basically almost at a dozen clients. Like, we're nearing 10 clients. So,
and just to like wrap it up, the reason we were talking about this, just the whole business process is encompassed by releasing a product into the market, right? So it's a really good like microcosm of anything you'll do larger in business. Just what am I going to do? Why am I going to do it? And how am I going to do it? And that's it. Like it really, really taught us a lot. So that was cool. And I think it's paying dividends, and everything we're doing is just building on that knowledge base.
And I hope it can inspire some other people out there to do any slight micro change that will improve.
Yeah.
Whether you're an employee of a full-time job, just something a little bit better. Show your boss a little improvement. Suggest an idea. This is it's a mindset. Yeah. Absolutely. Cool.
All right, man.
Thank you.
Episode 1. Let's get it. Till next week.
Adios.